As you know, one of my favorite shows is Great British Bake Off. I even have a segment on Get Set Up under Plant-Based People. Every week, no matter what the theme is for Great British Bake Off, I take the theme and I make something vegan and gluten-free. I also put it on my TikTok channel, you can follow along. So when it's cake week, I make a vegan and gluten-free cake. Now, I probably wouldn't get a handshake from Paul Hollywood, but probably from you it would, since you're watching this and are looking for vegan gluten-free recipes. So I love when they have cookie week, and that's what we're doing today, is cookies. All right, I'm gonna talk really slow because this is a really involved recipe. Are you ready? Start taking notes if you don't want to watch the replay. It has a lot of ingredients. Are you ready? Bananas and coconut, the end, that's it. No baking soda, no eggs, no baking powder, no measuring this, no measuring that. We've got unsweetened coconut, organic preferably, and we also have bananas. That's it. So the first thing we're going to do is peel the bananas. Thought that was a good idea. And then we're just going to mash the bananas. So let me tell you about these cookies. This is why I love these cookies, because we call them cookies, but technically you could use them instead of a protein bar, which has lots of fillers, most of them have lots of sugar, lots of fat. And so you could use these for breakfast. I know I like to make what I call for my grandson a cookie sandwich. And what I do is I put almond butter. You could use any sort of nut butter, or you could even, if you're allergic to nuts, use sunflower butter. You could do that. And then I add some 100% jelly into it, and I make him a little peanut butter and jelly cookie sandwich. So he really thinks he's eating cookies because they're shaped like a cookie, even though all he's really eating is bananas and coconut. Now, if you're not a fan of coconut, there's also a recipe that you can use, and it's bananas and oats. I like to chop, or I would say make flour out of regular oats. I put it in either the NutriBullet or I can put it in the Vitamix. Just put your oats, not quick oats, not groats, but oats. Put your oats in the Vitamix or the NutriBullet and just let it go, spin it, for a couple of seconds, and it comes out as a nice flour. I also did this with the coconut. What I did is I purchased this kind of coconut, and it's flakes. But what I wanted is I wanted a nice floury type one. That works better for the cookie texture. So I just put some in the NutriBullet. I just turned on the NutriBullet, and voila! It's much less expensive when you buy the bigger type. Like if you buy oat flour, it's a little bit more expensive than just making it at home. So an easy way to do it is just to purchase the oats and just make it yourself, and it turns out just as well. I also have a baby bullet at home, and what the baby bullet is so nice for, even though I don't obviously have any children or kids at home, the baby bullet is a lot smaller. So if I'm making just a small amount, maybe a cup or two of oat flour or coconut, or even maybe a raspberry coulis or some sort of sauce, and if there's not enough liquid in it for the Vitamix to really do a good job because you need so much liquid, I can use the baby bullet, and it's just like a NutriBullet. So don't think you have to have kids around just to use a baby bullet. It's really good for cooking smaller amounts of sauces. I don't recommend putting the bananas in the food processor. It makes it too liquidy. And look at the workout I'm getting here. I should switch arms so I stay just as muscular on the left arm as I do the right. Yeah. So we're just gonna mash it up. And this is so fun. This is really fun to do with your grandson or grandkids, or he loves to mash these bananas. I won't feed you the ones where he mashes it with his hands. I'll use a fork, make it nice and clean. Okay, so we've just mashed that up. Now what I did is I used 2 bananas, and then what I'm going to do is use a cup and a half of the coconut. Put that in there, and a little bit more coconut in there. Good, and then we're just going to mix it up. Now, when I say 2 bananas, you're like, is it this size, is it that size? Just start mashing it up, add the coconut until you get the consistency where you can roll it with your hands and make a ball. So that's what we're going to do. You might need to add more coconut. You might need to add I was going to say you could add more banana depending upon how much you're making. Obviously I'm not making very much right here. Just a little bowl right there, and you just keep mashing it. So there's a lot of recipes online. You can go to Shane and Simple, you can go to Vegan 8, Brandy Domingo of Vegan 8, what she likes to use instead of milk in her recipes, in her baking recipes, she uses light coconut milk. So that's really good. So bananas can also be used in place of eggs of your cookie or your baking. But if you don't want the banana taste, my favorite egg replacer. All right, hold on. Maybe some of you have heard of this, maybe not. My favorite egg replacer is aquafaba. What's aquafaba? Not sure? You want to take some guesses? All right, aquafaba is actually the juice, the liquid from a can of garbanzo beans. And what I do with that, I open the garbanzo beans, I drain them, put all the juice into a bowl, and then I store it in an ice cube tray. So I have little bit, what would look like ice cubes. It's now full of aquafaba. And when it calls for an egg, I just pop 3 of those out, and that's my egg. There are so many recipes you can use with aquafaba. You can even make macaroons, the French cookie that's usually just all egg whites. You can make macarons, you can make meringues, you can do a lot of things. I'm just gonna add a little bit more coconut in here. I want a little bit thicker consistency. Okay, now it's becoming kind of more like a cookie, and that's what we want. Now when I make these, I make them plain because my grandson doesn't like any sort of additives, but you can always add some pumpkin pie spice depending upon the time of the year. You could add some cinnamon, maybe some nutmeg, plenty of different add-ons. And yes, you can, if you want, you can also add some vegan chocolate chips. My daughter doesn't like when I do that for my grandson, so I try to avoid that. But if it's just the 2 of us, sometimes they sneak into the batter. All right, so look at that. It's looking like a great cookie. Now, because there's no baking soda, because there's no baking powder, we're going to roll it ourselves, and we're going to have to shape it like a cookie because that's exactly how it's going to bake. So however you make it on and put it on the cookie sheet, that's what it's going to look like. Another thing, because I don't use oil when I cook, parchment paper is one of my best friends. Parchment paper for life. People say, what do you want for Christmas? I say, parchment paper and a really nice vanilla. Weird Christmas taste, but that's what I like. I use parchment paper for almost everything. If I'm baking or kind of frying, I don't really fry, but if I'm frying potatoes in the oven, then I use parchment paper. All right, I think that's just about right. Let's see. You can eat this just how it is if you want, but let's make it into cookies since that's what we're here for, is make into cookies. So we're just going to take a little bit, we're going to roll it up, and then we're going to shape it in the shape of a cookie. Okay, and we'll do that. That feels a little bit wet to me. Let's add a little bit more. And the more coconut you add, obviously, because coconut it's going to absorb the banana. So the more coconut you add, the less banana flavor you'll have. So it just depends on what you like best. There's also another recipe out that I like, and she makes, I think it's Monkey and Me Adventures. She makes a great coconut cookie too. Hers is a little bit more involved. It uses flax for an egg. Maybe you've tried the flaxseed meal for an egg, and for that you use a tablespoon of flaxseed, and you use 1 tablespoon of flaxseed and 3 tablespoons of water. That makes a flaxseed egg. Okay, I think this is a little better consistency. So I'm just going to be making, I don't know, 12, 15 of these cookies, maybe a few more. I'm going to set the oven at 350. So the oven's set already at 350. Yeah, we just roll these up and make a little cookie. There you go. And I'll do this with the rest of them, pop them in the oven, then we'll see how they turn out. Whoa, these are hot. Ooh, and they sure smell good. I made the kitchen smell great. It smells like toasted coconut. So good. We want them to cool a little bit. Let's see if they're ready to take off the pan yet. Okay. Oh yes, they're gonna slide right off. Doesn't that look great? And look at the nice texture they have. Nice crumb on there, as they would say in Great British Bake Off. So I'll just take a few of them off. A little bit cooler. Let's see. Yes, nice. Now, as I said, you could top this with something, your favorite almond butter or your favorite nut butter. You don't have to. You could add some jelly. You could just keep them plain just how they are. These are a great snack. They're healthy. As you can see, only 2 ingredients. It's great for breakfast, great for snacking. Please give them a try. Find our other Get Set Up recipes and videos at getsetup.io, and I hope to see you again soon.